Joining me now with reaction to the Reverend's comments and the events that were unfolding today, author of Suicide of a Superpower, former presidential candidate Patrick J. Buchanan, and former Clinton special counsel, Fox News contributor Lanny Davis. Guys, before we get to that, let's show you what happened on the state floor in Michigan today. State Representative Douglas Geis said there will be blood. Watch this.
And we're going to pass something that will undo 100 years of labor relations. And there will be blood. There will be repercussions.
There will be blood. Lanny Davis, you are pretty left-wing. You're a liberal. You're, I assume, a pro-choice liberal. Let me ask you this, because this is what this comes down to me. If you can force people, workers, to join a union, and you can force them to pay dues that they don't want to pay, join a union they don't want to join, tell me how that's not legalized theft. Because I view that as stealing if you're going to force people, you're pro-choice, to do something they don't want to do or they can't work. How do you support that as a pro-choice person?
I'll answer your question directly, but I would like to condemn the violent attacks on anybody who dissents. And I think that I am pro-labor and pro-labor movement, that was shameful. And it makes those of us who are pro-labor, who are Democrats, supporting organized labor, ashamed that that kind of violence should be posted on somebody who is dissenting from the point of view. So to answer your question, the union shop requires everybody to either pay dues for the benefits that unions have negotiated or pay a substitute for those dues if they don't want to join the union. That is only fair so they don't get a free ride for the benefits that have been negotiated through the union. But I believe in an election and with a secret ballot, which is why I oppose card check. And if the workers decide by majority vote not to unionize, then they should have a right to do so.
All right, well, I appreciate your honesty there. Pat Buchanan, tell me where I might be wrong here. If you can force, workers can't work unless they join a union, they're forced to pay, that money is used for political purposes, which they may disagree with. Tell me how that is not legalized stealing or blackmail, or use whatever term you want to use.
Well, I have personal experience. I joined the Globe Democrat in St. Louis in 1962, and I had to join the union within 60 days or I would be fired. Now, the union argues that, okay, even if we don't force you to join the union, you should be obligated to pay if you're not in the union and the union has negotiated all the contract and the benefits. That used to be called the agency shop. Sean, that's what's been outlawed up there in Michigan today. What that means is a lot of folks who've been paying dues to the union aren't going to pay them. Secondly, a lot of folks that are in the union say, why should I pay dues to the union? Why should I even belong to the union if I don't have to? This is a body blow to American labor, I think unseen in a long, long time, and to see it happen in Wisconsin and Indiana. And, go ahead.
Pat, you know that we're friends and I respect you, but the fact is that anybody who wants to decertify and have an election, the majority rules, just as it does when we elect our electors in states, the most votes will elect a president in a particular state will get the electoral vote, just as in a
Lanny,
union,
let me
there
stop
can
you,
be
Lanny.
elections,
So wait a minute.
and the majority rules.
You're missing the point. If you don't want to join this union,
right.
you
don't
can't.
have to.
Wait a minute, hang on. There's no choice here for people that want to work. You must join the union, you must pay money, or you can't work. I thought you were pro-choice.
If you don't join the union, I favor the option not to join the union.
You still have
but
to
you
pay.
have to pay. You have to pay something equivalent to the union dues to pay for the benefits, or you get a free ride. That's the concept, Pat. But it isn't that you have to be in the union. You can vote the union out by majority vote.
But this is the idea, exactly what I'm talking about. This is what we call an agency shop. You don't have to join a union, but you do have to pay if the union negotiated your contract and you're getting the benefits, pension, health, and all the rest of it. That has been outlawed, though, Lanny, and they say you cannot require somebody to pay something to a union in which he disbelieves. You've got the idea of individualism and freedom up against community and solidarity and equality and
we got to take a break,
comradeship.
guys.
Don't forget the words free ride.
Hang on a second. You're staying right there now with Lanny Davis and Patrick J. Buchanan. All right. White House today, Lanny Davis, like you, our own Ed Henry, asked Jay Carney whether or not the president condemns the violence. You were very outspoken about it. Did Jay Carney take advantage of that opportunity to condemn it? Let's listen.
The president believes in, debate that's, civil. I haven't seen those comments, and I'm not sure that they mean what some would interpret it to mean. I just haven't seen them. You heard the president talk about his views. He has always opposed so-called right-to-work laws. As he said, those laws are generally political and not economic. They're more about the right to earn less pay than they are, helpful to our economy. And he presented those views yesterday in Michigan.
I didn't see any shyness on the part of the president when it came to condemning a YouTube video, Lanny Davis. You'd think this would be a no-brainer for the White House to do exactly what you did on this program tonight, condemn, and we'll show it again, the violence that took place there today.
Look, first of all, I'm absolutely 100% certain that Jay Carney did not see that tape, and the president would not approve of that violence. Secondly, the person that I saw engaging in that violence, who appeared to be pro-union, is an aberration, and the whole movement of pro-labor union workers, who I think are civil and are peaceful, should not be condemned because of that
really, Lanny?
shameful
They knocked
episode
down
by
a
that
tent
person.
Full of women? You're saying,
whoever did
hang on a
it.
second. This is interesting to me, Pat Buchanan, because we saw all the Tea Party events, and there were all these false allegations of racism and violence. Why is it that whenever we see any movement of the left, be it the Occupy movement or past labor movements or these G8 summits, we always see violence from the left, but not the right? Why is that?
You know, there is a horrible double standard now. Why is the Democratic Party not held to account? Look, if the Tea Party had marched into the legislature like that, had this riotous activity, cursed people out, beat them up, they would say that's what the Tea Party represents.
Pat, hang on one second. Look at them knocking down that tent.
Whatsoever.
They're pushing down a tent that has women and apparently some elderly people in there. You see him pushing it, Lanny. But go ahead, Patrick. Pat, back to you.
It's absolutely terrible. I agree with Pat. It's and there shouldn't be a double standard. And I've seen violence on the right.
Where have you seen violence on the right?
Extrapolating the extremists at those Tea Party sessions about Obamacare were somewhat
where was there violence at a Tea Party event?
And I never extrapolated and said it applied to everyone.
Refresh my memory, Lanny. When specifically, because there were all these false allegations about racism at Tea Party rallies, false allegations about...
I never subscribed.
Sean,
I never subscribed to that. Go ahead, Pat.
The real question will be what we see tomorrow when the whole country sees this. And let me say this. I'm not anti-union at all. I still belong to one, and I like the union. But this discredits the entire union movement. This is criminal activity. It is stupid. It is destructive to the reputation of union, destructive to workers. You know, Ronald Reagan was a union leader, a proud one, Screen Actors Guild. I don't think he would condone this type of stuff, and neither should the Democratic Party today.
No one is condoning the violence, but no one is saying that these non-representative extreme people represent the entire labor movement. I think these are aberrations, but I agree with you, Pat.
What do we see in Wisconsin?
And we should condemn it on the left and the right, and you and I are consistent on that.
Lanny, they invaded the legislature of Wisconsin shouting and hollering from the balconies there.
Wrong.
If conservatives did that in the U.S. Capitol, they'd go to jail.
Well, I think they'd be both wrong, and I agree with you. That hurts the labor movement. As a pro-labor Democrat, that kind of activity doesn't persuade undecided people. It turns off those people. So they're hurting the labor movement by that kind of activity.
We got to break. Thank you both. But I'm going to prove this point tomorrow night, Lanny, and I'll give you all the instances where the left has used violence and extreme rhetoric, and then we'll compare it to some of the Tea Party rallies. And if you have a specific instance of violence with the Tea Party, you tell me about it. Send me an email. You have my private email, okay?
I do have your private email. I don't see it on television, though.
All right. I appreciate that. But